YouTube is connecting. Good evening, YouTube. How are you tonight? Let me just get connected with Facebook and I'll be right with you. Facebook, there you are. I am so sorry I'm late tonight, you guys. Just a lot of stuff going on. I am going to try to get through a lot of this quickly because tonight is Better Call Saul, and I'm not trying to miss that. So I'm just going to verify that everything is streaming the way it should be, and then we're going to get into everything. Okay, I'm not sure why it says I've only been talking for 10 seconds on Facebook, because it's been longer than that. But anyway, let's just verify that that's going. All right, very nice. And I know YouTube is live, so let's get started. First of all, just real quick, for people who are new here, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ginger. I am also known as the Pain Warrior Princess. Right now I am streaming on YouTube and, Facebook and YouTube. So if I don't look right in the camera that looks like I'm looking at you, that is why, and I apologize if that's awkward. I'm not very technically set up here, but we're moving ahead anyway. So I do these videos rather regularly. I was doing them every night, and then I took a few nights off because I had some things I had to handle. But I am back, and we're going to talk about the New York State and White House press conferences tonight from the past few days. We're going to be talking about some other things. I imagine if you are here, then you either stumbled upon this video or you saw the post. Tonight's COVID-19 live broadcast. So we will be talking about the press conferences, like I mentioned. Pardon me, I need some hand lotion because actually it's hand cream. I've been washing my hands a lot, and yeah, so we're gonna do that real quick. So also we'll be talking tonight about where's my list? Okay, some COVID-19 stories OTD, which means of the day. We'll talk a little bit about U.S. preparedness, and there was a post that I did the other day on my personal Facebook that I think I wasn't very clear in the beginning, and I think that was part of the issue, but I want to talk about that briefly. Hey, YouTube, just wanted to make sure y'all were still there. And let's see. Arizona was issued a stay-at-home order today, finally, after mayors put pressure on Governor Ducey. We'll be talking about that. And the Covidiot of the day, if you've not heard this term, it is genius. Covidiot is in Urban Dictionary, and basically it's somebody who's not following the precautions and what we are supposed to be doing and making smart decisions right now. So yeah, we're going to be talking about all of that stuff. So let me just give a couple seconds here to see if somebody, if anybody else is going to log on, and then I'll get started. I'm going to go through it real quick, rapid fire tonight, because again, Better Call Saul is on. So, I mean, do I have to explain? If you don't know what Pain Warrior USA is, while I'm getting my phone situated here with my notes, Pain Warrior USA is a chronic illness and chronic pain education organization that I founded. And having suffered with chronic conditions for over 25 years, and chronic pain is a symptom of many of those, I wanted to help educate other people who are kind of new to that situation, because when I was diagnosed with the first chronic condition that I ever was diagnosed with, it was very new. So there weren't really medicines to treat it. Nobody really knew what to tell me to not make my situation worse. So that is why I did that. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram is Pain Warrior USA. Facebook, my personal Facebook, you guys know where I am. You're right there. I'm also on Facebook as Pain Warrior USA, and it also says Pain Warrior Princess in there somewhere. And where else? YouTube, of course, under Pain Warrior USA Hacks for Fibromyalgia. Yes, I know it's a long name. I will be fixing that. Okay. We have the phone with the notes set up, so let's get going. Now, when I first started doing these lives, I went into a lot of, foot cramp. Oh, sorry. I went into a lot of detail, and in the beginning, there were a lot of details to kind of get out and for people to understand. And what I would do is kind of take the medical jargon and kind of translate it into everyday examples that people might understand from their own life, or examples from my life as a patient. And sorry, my hips are cramping up. And so that's what I started doing. All right, I will get comfortable in a minute. I apologize. Let's try this again. Okay, so that's what I was doing. The truth is now that mostly what is coming out is statistics, continuing to tell us, you know, you got to take the precautions, wash your hands, all of those things, sanitize your surfaces, all of those things that we've been told. And so what I'm going to do, I also have a marketing research background in marketing in general, but I started my career in marketing as a market research analyst. So I'll be taking all those numbers that are like thrown at us and kind of translating them and manipulating and working them into something that is easier to kind of digest and understand, you know, what do these numbers really mean? So that's kind of the direction that these lives are going in. But I do like the Covidiot of the day. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about other news items that come up. But if you have tuned into lives before, they will change a bit. And there'll also be more videos coming out with, you know, different things like recipes and tips and that kind of stuff. So on the 27th, which was Friday, at the New York State press conference, one of the biggest things that I took from that is that as of that date, they've done, just in New York State, over 130,000 tests to date. The numbers that they were giving, if you remember, I had been saying every time I came on the live, okay, so the number of hospitalizations doubled every, what was it? I think it was every 2 days, yeah. So on last Sunday, the hospitalizations, the number needing hospitalizations, doubled every 2 days. Then Monday it was every 3.4 days. Tuesday it was every 4.7 days. And the next time that they talked about it, let me see. I know they mentioned it today. Now it's doubling every 6 days. So that is a very good sign, because it means that less and less people are needing to come into the hospital as frequently. So that is a good thing. And let's see what else they were talking about. He kind of wanted to put things into perspective, and I'm kind of one of those types of people too. I think it's important. Today is day 15 of the original 15 days to stop the spread. Now, we all know that it has been continued until April 30th at this point. So we got to keep going, guys. We got to keep being vigilant. we've got to self-isolate. We've got to disinfect, wash your hands, social distancing, quarantine if you have conditions, or you have chronic conditions, or you have symptoms of COVID-19. Know what symptoms are the ones that trigger you to say, okay, I need to call my doctor. I need to tell them what is going on to see if they would order a COVID-19 lab test for me. So again, some perspective. And this was Saturday's numbers, so I'm going to quickly kind of make them relevant for today. But New York State's first COVID-19 case was about 29 days ago. So I know it seems like this has been going on forever, but the truth is it was, you know, basically less than a month. The first New York State case showed up. I'm sure you guys all know New York State is the hardest hit state in the United States. The New York metro area is really, really hard hit. And we'll talk about that a little bit more when I go over today's information from that press conference. But the New York State's schools have been closed for less than 2 weeks. I know it seems like forever, but it's been less than 2 weeks. And the New Rochelle cluster, which you've probably heard a lot about, was just under 3 weeks ago. So I know it feels like we've been doing this forever and it's never going to end. It hasn't been forever. It will end at some point. It's not going to go from where we are now to everything how it was in October of 2019 in this country. It will be gradual, but it will happen. Governor Cuomo was also talking about in China. So in China, the COVID-19 situation started 12 weeks ago. In South Korea, it was 9 weeks ago. In Italy, it was 8 weeks ago. So again, remember, New York State only had their first case 27 days ago. So we are not even about half into where Italy is now. So they are still talking about the apex being in 2 to 3 weeks. So keep that in mind. I'm sorry, somebody messaged me. I gotta close it. Okay. So yeah, keep that in mind. There will be more cases before it flattens out and the numbers start to go down. That's just a fact. There was something that he talked about on the 28th, and I'm going to discuss it with a friend of mine who's a nurse. I'm so sorry, my hands are still dry. I'm going to discuss it with her because I want to make sure that the way I'm explaining it to you is absolutely accurate. Y'all know I'm all about the verified and sourced information, so that's all you're going to get here, unless I say it's my opinion or somebody else's opinion. So, but he was asking some of the experts, if we can't get ventilators, then what do we do? Now, by now, we all know that there are ventilators in like a stockpile in New York State, ready for that apex. So I will be talking about, what the experts told him and how that works and what all is entailed once I talk to my friend who's a nurse. So there are over, I think today the number was 1,600, but let me just verify that before I say it. Yeah. So as of Saturday, there were 1,100 patients on the chloroquine and Zithromax cocktail. So as of now, earlier today, I should say, there were 1,600. So they are testing it with more people, and that is a very good thing. We should know very soon how effective that is going to be. Again, it's not a clinical trial right now type of data, but they're basically running a clinical trial while they're treating the patients with this. So, excuse me. All right, let's skip down to... he does talk about numbers like overall total tested, how many positive cases, how many of those need hospitalization, how many of those hospitalized need to be in the ICU, how many have been discharged, how many have recovered. Again, those are all statistics that I'll kind of put together and into a way that's kind of easier to digest and more interesting to listen to or look at than just spouting off a whole bunch of numbers. But that's how these types of situations are. You just have to spout the numbers. So, all right, on the 28th, there was no White House press conference. So let me just make sure there was everything. Okay, there was one other thing that he did say, and I think it's good to keep in mind on Saturday, Governor Cuomo. He did say that all emergency situations are unique. Each one that comes along will be unique. I'm sure you remember Superstorm Sandy. That was a really, really bad situation. And in that emergency, they needed generators and sandbags. For 9/11, of course, they needed hospitals ready to go, ready to treat patients. The patients never came because of that situation and how it all happened. For COVID-19, the big thing is ventilators and PPE. So every emergency situation is unique. All right. While there was no White House press conference on the 28th, the president did make remarks as he was getting on Marine One and when he went to Norfolk to see off either the Comfort or the Mercy. I'm so sorry. I confused those two, which one went where. I think it was the Comfort that he was seeing off, but I could be wrong. Let's talk about more recent stuff. Let's jump to today. The big thing from the New York State press conference, there were a couple. Number one, New York State has 4.5 times as many cases as New Jersey, and New Jersey is the second highest state. So that is a huge difference. And it kind of illustrates why the situation in New York State is so serious right now. As I mentioned before, the number of patients needing hospitalization is now doubling every 6 days, and the daily discharge rate is going up as well. So what does that mean? That means that people with COVID-19 were well enough to go home, and we're not contagious anymore. So that is a good thing. The number 80% of people who are COVID-19 positive will kind of self-recover, will, not need to be hospitalized, and definitely not need an ICU bed with a ventilator. It's still 80%, so that is good. Governor Cuomo did ask for healthcare providers to come to New York, especially if they have nothing to do. I'm paraphrasing, but he didn't really explain how that would work. And of course, there are licensing concerns. He didn't indicate if you are a medical practitioner and you would like to come and help us, please contact this office or that office, or here's a toll-free number or whatever. So if that is something that interests you, you would have to seek out that information. As I had said the last live that I did, the number of healthcare practitioners or people with medical training that step forward to volunteer and help out, as well as the number of mental health professionals that did the same thing, the numbers are huge. It's really incredible to know and see that that's going on. The good thing about asking those healthcare providers to step forward is if there are licensing concerns in terms of treating a patient, whether the doctor's retired, they would still have their license probably, but whether it's that or it's like a state to state difference in something, these folks could still help with testing and counseling and help support the healthcare providers on the front lines. So let's talk kind of more general stuff. 10 states have 4,000 plus COVID-19 positive cases, and 23 states have 1,000 plus. So we have to do our best to keep those numbers as low as we can. And that means, at this point now we're until April 30th doing all those things that we need to do. So on behalf of me with chronic illnesses and conditions and decreased immunity from those and some other things, as well as on behalf of people who are sicker than me with chronic conditions, please keep doing these things. We're going to come out of it eventually, and everything will be getting back to normal. But for now, this is what we have to do. Okay. Also, a message for people with chronic conditions or people who are on medication. You would probably already know this, but I'm going to point it out anyway. Not only can somebody have decreased immunity from a certain health condition, but they can also have decreased immunity from a certain medication. A good example of that is chemotherapy. So if this is something that you have concerns about, you can certainly talk to your doctor or your pharmacist about it. Just be patient with them because they are swamped right now. I'm sure you probably all have heard as well by now that the projections we're talking about over 2 million potentially could die from COVID-19 in the U.S. alone. Now it's probably closer to 100 to 200,000. Now I hate to say these numbers that are based on projections because it's just that. It's a model, it's a projection. We don't know enough about this virus yet to fully understand how accurate the projections are. And of course the social distancing and the quarantines for people and the shutting cities down and only essential businesses, all these things will help to make it so those projections, those original projections are wrong. So that's what we need to try to do. All right, moving on from the press conferences. Told you, rapid fire, rapid fire. I'm going to get a drink. Excuse me. Let's go back to today's agenda and see what we're going to talk about next. Excuse me. COVID-19 stories of the day. All right, the first one on here is U.S. preparedness. I am not going to get into this too much because everybody has an opinion about this. And everybody is entitled to their opinion about this. I'm just going to tell you my opinion and why I feel that way. It was a post on my social media that, again, as I said in the beginning of this live, it was very clear I needed to clarify what I meant. It was clear to me in the beginning, but it was not to other people. I feel like... What was that noise? I feel like people are confounding different issues when it comes to preparedness. And I want to read what I wrote exactly, because let me read it and then I'll explain it. People confound preparedness with the amount of positive cases and sheer magnitude of contagion of COVID-19, and that's a mistake. That was not a post about being prepared or not. There was a link that I shared to an article, and kind of the headline was, U.S. was more prepared for pandemic than any other country. Apparently Johns Hopkins said that, believed it, studied it. I'm not sure exactly what. I don't want to click on it and lose other things. But my post was not a post about whether we are prepared or not. My post was that people are confounding issues. So confounding, and this is where part of the confusion is. That's why I'm telling you this part. I'm not trying to be an English teacher, though I am interested in language and grammar and stuff, but another YouTube channel sometime in the future. So confound can mean to confuse, or it can also mean to kind of, let me get the exact definition, because I think that's important here, because there was a lot of confusion on that. This is an important topic because it kind of illustrates an issue with the media. It illustrates an issue with really understanding how serious this pandemic is. So the definition of confounding that I was using is mixing up something with something else so that the individual elements become difficult to distinguish. So that is the alternate definition, I guess you could say, that I was using. Now, why is this important? Well, I need to get back to the post so I can explain it, because I wrote a big long diatribe and I can't remember it. Give me one sec. Okay, here we go. All right. I'm just going to read what I wrote. So, my point in this post about confounding is this. Our country has always been prepared for some level of medical crisis, but I don't believe any country could have been prepared for this virus and this pandemic. There is more to my thinking, but that's the basis. Part of it is because the virus is new and the whole world had to start from scratch understanding it. Scientific, medical, individual people trying not to get it, etc. Part of it is because the Chinese officials lied, covered up, and withheld information, and they still are. I think we all know that. And the most important part that to me explains my post best is that everything about this virus, especially the numbers of infected and the level of contagion, is unlike anything any country has dealt with in modern times. People are mixing up, confounding, the characteristics of this virus and that it's pandemic with the characteristics and non-pandemic level of, let's say, a plain old ordinary seasonal flu. And when they do this, the preparedness required becomes difficult to distinguish. Now, the article I posted, I even admit it has many issues. It doesn't give enough context. It doesn't relate it to this particular situation, and it really only serves to scare people. So, regarding articles like that and preparedness, this is my advice. We as regular, ordinary citizens, we can't do anything about preparing our country at the country level. We can't. That's not in our wheelhouse. We're not in that circle. That's not us. That's not our job. And I'm not saying the press shouldn't report it, but all I take from the article I posted and other articles about preparedness is I just need to do my damnedest not to get COVID-19. That's what I'm taking from it. And I suggest gently that perhaps you consider that point of view also. There's nothing we can do about whether our country is prepared or not. All we can do anything about is whether we are as prepared as we can be as individuals, as families, as communities, as we can. That's awesome. Asked me basically to explain my point. This is the way that people should discuss things on the internet. Just saying. All right. So, after I sent my reply to him, this is what he asked. I hope you don't mind that I'm quoting you, DJ, but I'm going to do it. Would you agree that, in this situation, the preparation required is far larger than anything we've seen in our lifetime, and that we are not ready? here's what I wrote. And again, I suggest it's something that perhaps you consider adopting as well. I'm trying to be gentle about it. All right. Here's my response. Truthfully, I don't have the knowledge or experience to say anything about the country's preparedness or whether we as a country are ready or not. I rely more on my intuition and anxiety to prepare for things before waiting to hear I should be doing so from another source. And I know that for over 5 weeks I've been self-isolating as I've been as prepared as I can be since then. That's all I can control. And let me tell you, that anxiety of mine is getting a gold medal for telling me for many years to buy more when stuff we use is on sale and to restock household supplies and paper products when we still have 2 weeks worth in the house. I'm going to pause here because one of the very first live videos I did, I told you guys that once all of this stuff calms down, I am going to discuss, educate if you are open to it, teach if you're open to it, why I didn't panic and why I didn't have to run out and grab all of that stuff that everybody else did, including toilet paper, and how I did it, how my household did it. My anxiety also told me 2 months ago, 2 months ago when my anxiety told me, 6 weeks ago when it prompted me to hit up the store for disinfecting supplies, and 5+ weeks ago when it said, stay home unless you have no other option and need to go out. So 3 cheers for anxiety. All right. And then I address his questions. And again, this is important information. It's kind of a perspective, a point of view. And again, I encourage you to kind of think about it for yourself. Larger than we've seen in our lifetimes and requiring a far larger amount of preparedness? Abso-fucking-lutely. That was my response. But what is far larger in this situation or any other? No one knows how bad it will get or what level of preparedness is correct or even warranted. In a pandemic like this, needing or having more preparedness is never a bad thing. But more doesn't mean enough preparedness wasn't there for what we did know or could predict at any given time. Every aspect of this whole situation evolves and changes so quickly, it's unbelievable. So, this is what I meant with that post. And again, I kind of encourage you to take from this, we're not in control at the country level. I mean, certain people are, sure, but it's not me, and it's not probably 99.5% of citizens in America. We are not at that level. We are at our level. Like I said, individual, household, community. That's the level that we are at. So we need to take personal responsibility. We need to watch the news and stay updated and know facts from rumors. Make sure they're verified and sourced before you share them. You can always feel safe sharing anything from me because it has been verified or sourced, or it's my opinion, and if it is, I say that and I disclaim it. The little blue lowercase I is white in a blue circle. That's where my sources are. And they're in every post where it's warranted. I mean, I'm not going to put it in a video with my dog. I mean, that's not relevant. But another thing to take from this, just real quick, I don't want it to get political. I don't want it to get ugly. But I believe there are not as many people in this country who are experts on a country's preparedness for a pandemic as think they are experts at that. Just like about 2 months ago, there were a whole lot of constitutional scholars and experts out there that all of a sudden became infectious disease specialists and epidemiologists and virologists and all of that. So that's all I'm going to say about it. Okay. And now that I've said that about it, what's next on the agenda? I'm telling you, Better Call Saul is coming on soon. I'm going to bust through this so quick. All right. Arizona stay-at-home order. Okay, so if you are not from Arizona, this part might not be of interest to you, but today Governor Ducey announced a stay-at-home order for Arizonans. Basically, mayors were, they sent him kind of nasty, well, not nasty, but very strongly worded letter like, we need to, like, start doing what the rest of the country is doing, and that is, stay home, have a stay-at-home order. So finally, it did go through. It's on the Arizona Family website. It's azfamily.com. I can post the link as well, and I will do that later. But it starts Tuesday at 5 p.m. So I will post it. It is Monday right now, so I will post that tonight so you guys can be prepared. Again, it's not that, a National Guard person is going to grab you by the collar and run you back to your house. You can certainly be out of your house for certain things, but it was an executive order and basically suggesting that people stay at home. So I don't quite understand that bit of it, but good advice is to stay at home if you do not have to go out when there is a pandemic. So there is the information about the Arizona stay at home order that was passed. Most important thing I wanted to let you guys know tonight is that it takes effect Tuesday at 5 p.m. I will post that link that has more information about the stay at home, and you can prepare. Covidiot of the day. Oh my goodness. Okay. I need to get a drink. I know it's just water, but still. Have you guys heard of this woman who decided to go through a grocery store, Garrity's supermarket, and cough on $35,000 worth of produce? Have you heard about this woman? Unbelievable. I'm opening up the article now because I think I remember how much her bail is, but I want to double check. If you have not heard about this woman, she basically did just what I said. She was inside the produce department, coughing, hacking, being disgusting all over the food. I'm trying to open the article because I think I remember what it said, but I just want to make sure. Apparently it was a prank. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, I'm sorry, the link won't open. I don't understand why. If it's the one I am thinking of, and if I'm wrong, I will correct it in the comments here once I get the article to open. I believe that her bail is $50,000. She's charged with different felonies. If I'm not mistaken, she claimed that she had COVID-19 or coronavirus. I don't remember which term she used, but again, I will correct it if I'm incorrect about that. But it doesn't really matter if she said anything about coronavirus, having it, not having it, or not. It really doesn't matter. Right now, it's not a good idea to do things like that, especially if it's a prank. If it's an accident, you can't get your hand up when you cough quick enough. I don't know. I'm sure there's some kind of reason in the universe that somebody could accidentally cough and not have it covered. But to blatantly do this is just, I mean, to me, it's on par with yelling fire in a movie theater. What we're going through right now, and she's in a grocery store where people, in the produce department, no less. It's not even like, for some of it, it's not even like you can take off the outer packaging and chuck it. I mean, it's not like a box of cereal, but they had to close down the store. Garrity's did. They had to sanitize it. And so a whole bunch of bail money, a couple felonies, and my Covidiot of the day. She didn't do this today, by the way, but it's just the one that I chose for today. So yeah, she gets that honor as well. Great job. Okay, so the resources list update, I am still working on that. Like I said earlier, it's such an evolving situation, constantly evolving, constantly changing. So I'm working on that. Somebody had an idea about how to get it out to you guys, and I want to think about it because I'm not sure I'm 100% comfortable with it. But I could do some good with that idea, so I'm kind of mulling it over in my head. All right, guys, I'll get to like 1 or 2 questions, and then I got to jet because I'll say it again. Better Call Saul is on, and if you watched the show, if you saw how it ended last week, I was just finishing up my live during the last like 5 minutes of Better Call Saul. I saw it, and I was like, what happened here? What did I miss? Like, something escalated horribly quickly. All right. I think there were some questions that came in on the Instagram and the Facebook story that I had. Basically, ask me what you want to know about COVID-19. So I can run through them real quick. Let me set my little pink 2-minute timer, because once I get chatting, I don't stop usually. Responded to Monica Eva responded to my question sticker with hands up and a heart. Well, thank you, Monica. That's sweet. Let's see. A CBD company would love for me to try some of their products. I would love to too. I'll give you my address. Send them over. I always accept gifts. If anybody else out there is listening, I accept gifts. Have a great day. Well, thank you, Eating by Elaine. I kind of did. I didn't sleep last night at all. Between the base of my skull in the back, wrapped around to my left ear, down to my elbow, to the front, down to about the middle of my rib cage, and then on the back left side, through my shoulder blade is numb and tingly and painful, and feels like I'm alternately being stabbed. Alternately being a hot poker and a cold poker are taking turns poking my shoulder blade in this whole area. But I did have a great day otherwise. Thank you. I hope you did too. Hi. Well, hi, Ambra Gutierrez. Hi. How are you? Responded to your question sticker. Hi. Hi, melting potheads. How are you? Happy Canyon says, hi, Pain Warrior Princess. Hi, Happy Canyon. Looking forward to trying your CBD sometime soon, too. Oh, wait, wrong way. When I don't sleep, I do not be coordinated. And my English is good not. And I turn into Yoda. Okay. Let's see what else. Oh, that's in Russian, I think. Sorry, Captain Andruha. I can't read Russian. Ooh, Nasty Cat 17. Quote, Nasty Cat finds you purely epic. Purr. Okay. Who am I to argue? Sounds good to me. Oh, this one I'm going to save till tomorrow because it'll take me a little bit to answer. Eating by Elaine, she sent me another one. How's your day going? Pretty good. And I hope yours went well as well. All right. Yeah, let's save some of those for tomorrow because it's going to take me a while. But lots more fun stuff and educational stuff coming. Some of it is COVID-19 related, but not exactly COVID-19. It's more like, hey, I knew how to do this kind of stuff before COVID-19. I think you will find it useful, so I'm going to tell you how to do it. It just so happens that right now we have COVID-19 going on, so that's the timing. All right, guys, this is a short video compared to my other ones, and I'm going to keep trying to get them shorter and shorter until we're about a half an hour with the daily updates and the other kind of little segments that I want to do. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to jet. It's starting in a few minutes. I got to get a snack, get situated on the couch, and I will see you guys for another live probably tomorrow, if not Wednesday. But I'm working on some other stuff tomorrow, so we're just going to have to see how it shakes out with the time and what kind of time I have left to make sure I get detailed and accurate information for you. But I am working on those statistics. I am working on making them kind of more visual, and yeah, I think it'll be a good thing. So have a good night, guys, and I will see you around. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. All right, YouTube, have a good night, and I will see you next time. Subscribe, turn on all notifications, like this video, and I'll be back with more. And I hope you all have a wonderful night. I'll see you next time.